Welcome to the April 10th meeting of the Weare Board of Selectmen. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Department head items. First, we have some reappointments to committees. First of all, John Van, and you'll take it from that point, John.
Van, the rest is silent.
John has been an alternate to the planning board, and he's here to be reappointed as an alternate to the planning board.
Yep.
We have our standard question, what interests you in continuing?
I want to stay involved in town affairs. Planning board seems like a great fit for me, and I want to continue on the great job that we're doing.
Is that any other?
Is your second term?
This is my second, yes.
Okay, thought so.
So your second 3-year term that you'll be starting as of tonight,
That's correct.
if we decide to approve.
If you want to keep me or not.
I don't see anybody knocking the door down and come out.
I don't know, they may be looking for another member. No?
No.
Okay.
Tom has it covered for us.
Okay, any questions, John or Jan?
Nope.
Okay. Entertain a motion.
Move to reappoint John Van Londersloot as a alternate member to the planning board for a 3-year term.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
John. Thank you for volunteering.
Are you staying?
Yeah, I'll stick around for a little
All right, after Malcolm is done, could Tom, you swear them both in? Could you do that for me?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Malcolm Wright.
Sure.
Malcolm has been a member of the zoning board. You're a full member, correct?
Yep.
And he's here to be reappointed
Yes,
in
sir.
that capacity. And what keeps you coming back?
Well, I like to help out, and I do enjoy the zoning board because I feel strongly about zoning in general. I think I said it the last time I was here, good fences make good neighbors, and the zoning is where that starts as far as getting neighbors to get along, and I think that zoning is very important.
Yeah, I think the planning board, John, has got a big task ahead of it because we've got to take a look at our master plan, which has
Yeah.
been around for about 12 years. And
Yep.
it needs updating, and the zoning is, of course, a big part of that. Anybody have questions? If not,
How many years have you been doing it?
Pardon me?
How many years?
I lost track. I don't know.
I think, yeah, I should probably see your name quite a bit, so
Jeez, that's a good question, though.
that's why.
Be 6.
well, time flies when you're having fun, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve Malcolm Wright, a full member of the zoning board,
Okay, if you could just add for a 3-year term.
3-year term.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Malcolm, for
Great,
volunteering.
thank you.
Now we're gonna,
Actually, Malcolm, could you hang on and be sworn in with John? You guys can do it together, we don't have to do
You want to do
this.
that now or do it later?
We can do it now so that Malcolm, if he wants to go, okay. You're gonna get sworn in, you're gonna raise your right hand and
All that fun stuff.
you can do it together though.
if you could repeat your name first, like, ask you to go to the blank. And then when it says duties incumbent on me, if you will just say, zoning board, planning board.
I, John Van Londersloot,
I, Malcolm Wright,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
and will faithfully and impartially
and will faithfully and impartially
and will faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform
discharge and perform
all the duties incumbent on me
all the duties incumbent upon me of the
as,
planning board
as a member of the ZBA
according to the best of my abilities,
according to the best of my abilities,
according to the best of my ability,
agreeable to the rules and regulations
agreeable to the rules and regulations
of the Constitution and laws of the state of New Hampshire.
of the Constitution and laws of the state of New Hampshire.
So help me.
So help me.
God. And once again, thank you very much.
Malcolm, can you guys just, Malcolm's, you just took this out.
Remember doing all this last time?
Oh,
All this
she told me we
paperwork.
had to, you just sign there.
Already my last name.
Yeah, be there for 3 years signing it.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you. And just before you go, on the same note, you had a gentleman, Michael Myers, we brought in last year, and Michael Myers, we reappointed last year for 3 years. With Forrest not coming back this year, they've asked that we bring him on and just elevate him to full member. I didn't see, you saw him last year to bring him back just to move him.
Okay.
So-
Michael Myers?
Michael Myers from an alternate to the full to take the
Does
place of,
Does that need a motion?
Rick, you wanna make?
Needs a motion, all right. I move to appoint Michael Myers to a full member of the zoning board from a alternate member.
All in favor?
I
thank you. That's all I had.
Are there any other department head items before we move to the next thing on the agenda? If not, recognize Bruce Fillmore. Bruce has been serving on a committee working with the contractors and coming up with a final plan for our highway garage, and also, I believe you're going to be the clerk of the works of the project, correct?
Smile. He's like,
Well, it's a huge addition to our town.
As you know, this was approved a year ago, this past March, at town meeting. The warrant article was for 1.36 million for an 11,250 square foot building, which we have done, was not easy. We had a wish list from Department of Public Works and what they were looking for in the building. And I think we've actually got everything that he was wishing for in the building. Not just what he just needed to function, but it's got the entire floor is radiant heat with a brand new waste oil burner and enough storage tanks inside the building so there's enough to store any oil outside for a season. Can all be inside a heated space, which is a huge improvement on when you're trying to burn waste oil, which is thick to begin with. There's office space in there.
you want me to flip it?
No, not yet. We kind of chose to go with a single slope roof. There's no peak to it. So that all the snow sheds towards the back of the building, all the snow and water, which keeps the bays clear so the trucks can just pull right out and not have to worry about having a snowbank in front of them when they try to leave. The one problem with that, it's not a problem, it's done all over the place, is in every garage door, it's 2 trucks deep. There's a truck in the front and a truck in the back. Because of the makeup of our fleet, with the combination of 6-wheelers and 10-wheelers, that single slope roof works out fine because the 6-wheelers in the back, they can open the bodies, and the 10-wheelers in the front, they can open the bodies while they're in the building. So if they have any work to do, they can pick the bodies up and work on the truck. Everyone fits in there with all the plow gear on it. So they don't have to try to take plow gear off to put them all in the building. Now we can go to the next page. We've got some windows up here, let some light in.
Maybe we could turn it a little bit so that people could kind of, if they want to look at it, can move over there and be able to see it. So you can see it from both directions. Now we can't quite see it, so. it's got-
Yeah, we'll get it turned around again.
How's that? Can you guys
should-
see that?
Yeah, that'll be good.
This little jog on the roof here is intentional. This is a 6-foot overhang of the roof, because there is a door out back. So that this bay here is a pull-through bay. So if they need to get a trash trailer in there to thaw it out or work on it, they can pull in and drive the tractor out. They don't have to back it in and back it out. It just makes it a lot easier getting it in there. So
Now-
this way they don't get any snow right in front of that door, because it's a 6-foot overhang.
That's just a question on, that roof actually has more pitch to it than what's shown in that. It looks
That's a
almost,
little deceiving because of the isometric and the angle and everything, but yeah. But it's a pretty flat roof. But it's all designed to meet the snow load requirement of 80 pounds per square foot. This is the truck section, is a wall right here. One of Benji's thoughts, once we got this all figured out, was, geez, I don't have any wall space for the guys to put toolboxes or hang anything on. So we've got a wall that runs completely across here. It's gonna be epoxy coated on both sides. Some towns have a designated wash bay, but that really chops up the footprint of the building, so you really can't have a square building, get the wash bay in it, and they park the grader in it. So if you wanna wash something, you have to pull the grader out, which, it's a lot easier to move a truck if you wanna wash something than the grader. So anywhere up against this wall on the backside, they can wash something, because the wall's all epoxy coated. And there's a floor drain that runs right down the middle of the building, continuous. This floor's pitching towards the drain, this floor's pitching towards the drain. Discussions with Henniker that Benji has had, one of the major complaints they have with their building is they have radiant heat in most of their building, not the last couple of days. And they have a real humidity problem in the wintertime. When you bring all the trucks in after them plow and they're covered with snow, the snow all melts because of the radiant heat. It puts humidity in the building like unbelievable. So we've got 2 huge dehumidifiers hanging off the roof in this thing to solve that problem. There's a lift here so that the town fleet can be worked on. The mechanic does the tires, oil changes, stuff like that, so we can do that right there. This is the mechanical room with the tanks in it for the boiler. There's a office here for the mechanic. There's storage here for filters and things like that they use in the trucks. There's this wall goes through, so there's a closet, there's this office area here with a space for an assistant and the department head here. There's a ladies' room. There's a room that has nothing but a shower stall in it, so that it could be used by either sex. So we're not putting a shower stall in the ladies' room and in the men's room. It's made more sense to do that. And I've seen buildings where they put a shower stall in the men's room. The shower stall becomes a catch-all. If they ever need it, you can't use it, they gotta clean it out first. Hopefully that won't happen this way. There's a men's room here that will be accessible from either side, either the shop side or the office side. And there's a break room here with a full kitchen in it. And then lockers, a little locker room area here. That's kind of open, but I guess the lockers are about twice the size that they're using now, so we'll give them a little more room to get all their rain gear and boots and stuff in. This site, we gotta put a new septic system in, we gotta put a new well in. I mean, it's brand new from the ground up. We can't utilize the old septic system. We're planning on putting a new well in, because there's a dug well on site now. And the parking for the building will essentially be right here, because this is the front door. But the septic system's gonna be right along the front of the building here, right tight to the building, so that they can grass that area, so there'll be a little landscape buffer there that they can park beyond that. But there's no snow coming off the roof that way either, because all the snow sheds this way. So it should be fairly easy to keep clean in the winter, because there's nothing, the roof, where all the snow's gonna come, there's nothing here. And there's a door out the back here.
now that, the wall, just, when we talked earlier, that goes all the way up, so it acts as a firewall as
Yeah,
well.
it's the first 8 feet is 12-inch wide block, which is basically looking for someplace for outlets. He wants to plug some welders in along there on both sides of it potentially. He wants to have a place to put work. Now there's a wall there to do that with. There's an air system set up through here, so there's an outlet between every single one of these doors. So they've got air lines where they need them, without running 100 feet of hose to put air in the tire. The whole facility is lit with LED lighting. It's got a about twice the insulation R values that the code requires. So it'll be a lot easier to heat. Which, given that we've got the radiant heat with the waste oil, I mean, he's probably gonna use less waste oil in this building than he does now in the building they currently have, because it's insulated. So, and he seems to have plenty of supply of that now, so. And upstairs on this is gonna be a set of steel stairs, with concrete filled steel stairs, you've all seen them. I go up to a mezzanine up here, and this mezzanine is all, the walls are all lined with fire rated plywood, and they'll all be painted, so he can store, and it's 100-pound floor loading up here, he can store just about anything he can get up there. Which gives him, and that's a tall part of the building, that roof is high up here, so it's full headroom up here, there's no ducting or anything. So he can put he's got a hose machine for repairing hydraulic hoses, and that can go up there. So it's a good use of the space. There's not a lot of wasted space. There's enough space, there's ample room to work, to get between the trucks. There's not a tremendous amount of room in there, but it's ample. There's not a single post in the building. So if one of these trucks in the front breaks down, they can still get out around it. Because you don't have to worry about jockeying around a post. And this, like I said, there's a floor drain. You can't just dump the water or a floor drain outside, because in a garage like that, potential for oil and grease and things in it. So there's gonna be a 5,000 gallon tank underneath one of these bays inside the building. So if that tank could fill up in the wintertime, all I gotta do is pop the cover off and pump it out. It's not like it's gonna be frozen outside somewhere. Had a lot of, it took us a lot longer to get to this point, but there was a lot of avenues we explored on the type of building. This is a pre-engineered building frame. But we've got it done. Now we're ready to start breaking ground. It takes 12 weeks for the building to show up. I think they ordered it today. Fortunately, that 12 weeks be around first week of July. We can get the foundation in ahead of time before the steel shows up, and we've got time, we can get the floor poured before the building shows up, and essentially get the outside all graded. It just makes the erection process go a lot faster. And there's a little room up here over the mezzanine. That mezzanine kind of goes over this area here too for the air compressor. So the air compressor's up here in the mezzanine. So it's we really utilize the space as much as we possibly can.
Will everything, all your equipment fit inside, graders and all? Or grader?
Yeah, the grader, well, yeah.
Yeah, grader's here, loader's here. 12 trucks, and there's a lift here. It can be a car or something sitting in that lift overnight without interfering with everything, in case there's something you needs to order parts for.
Is there anything not going in that was originally in the, okay.
As far as equipment, everything is in there. I mean, it's everything we anticipated, everything. The geometry is a little bit different than what we had anticipated, but at first we thought we needed a wire, but once we got to thinking about it, realized with the way the truck fleet is, with the 6-wheelers, 10-wheelers, there was no sense in making it wider. I mean, these first 3 are shown here as 10-wheelers, they go almost to the floor drain. And with the 6-wheelers here, there's plenty of room between them. There's room, we could convert 3 of those 6-wheelers to 10-wheelers if we ever wanted to, and still be fine. So we've got room for a little flexibility with the truck fleet there. And as typical in these pre-engineered buildings, if you ever needed to add on, you could either leave this wall just like it is and just add on, go that direction to make it a little longer.
There is the capability.
So there is a capability, and there's plenty of room on the site to do that. Any questions from the board?
Which way is the doors going to face? Towards the transfer station?
Well, I think we're gonna angle a little bit. If this is the road out here, the transfer station's over here.
Mhm.
Originally, we're thinking we're just gonna have it perpendicular to the road. But I think we're gonna just twist it just a little bit this way.
Okay.
So when you're pulling down to the transfer station, you actually
Be looking in the doors.
looking at the doors a little bit better, but you'll still clearly see that end, because that's where the parking's gonna be for
Right.
visitors and everything. It'll just make it a little easier too for the trucks to get out, so they're not coming out making 2 90-degree turns to get out on the road.
Mhm.
Um,
Can the public ask a quick question?
It's up to the chair.
Yeah, go ahead, sure.
You mentioned waste oil heat.
Mhm.
Those things inevitably break down. Is there a backup source for heat?
There is not.
Okay.
There is not. It's the waste oil, I mean, everything's brand new.
Yep.
They've come a long way.
I only asked because the one that we just had installed at Caterpillar
Yeah.
caught fire the first time we fired it up and was down for 2 weeks. So
And that's
I just
one
want to
reason-
make sure that we have it all.
And that's one reason why it's in a room all by itself,
Yeah,
so that if that happens, it's contained.
but there'd be no heat.
There'd be no heat.
Okay.
They're pretty user friendly to service. We have 3 of them at work, and you know, even I can service them. So, exactly, they can be really simple, right? So, you know, there's not a whole lot to them. It's not as it's not as finely tuned as your homeowner.
Provided they don't catch fire. Yeah.
Usually, yeah, that usually helps. Usually, they're supposed to direct the fire into the into the chamber.
The firebox.
Yeah, into the fire chamber. You know, so.
Outside of the chimney.
Lori?
Bruce, I have 2 questions. One is, what's our suppression system? 2 is backup
Backup generator's going right out here.
size.
The electrician's still working on that.
Okay.
The suppression system's a problem.
Yeah, it's been a problem since the start.
We worked diligently for about 6 months with the general contractor on this, and we come up with, first of all, it was a price for a building larger than this, with everything in it, it was over $2 million. We said, you gotta go back to the drawing board, let's look at this again. So we come back with essentially this design. It was 1.56, it was $200,000 high. That was without this wall. So we had to, something had to go. The easiest way, quickest way, the most logical way to get everything contained in the building was to put that firewall up, have this section. You've got 2 different uses here. You've got the truck storage section and the mechanical section here. So this is a firewall, so that we don't need a suppression system. So the suppression system had to go.
Okay, can I still say something?
Go ahead.
Having been on this committee and doing all the research on it, and I chaired it, the big question by the townspeople was there gonna be a fire suppression system? It was a huge concern. It was a big thing as to why they voted for it. So I just want that, I understand.
Well, it's not an easy decision for us to make.
Okay,
It would have been, in the board's opinion, a worse situation to not have all the equipment in the building.
It could be added afterwards.
Right.
If the town-
So what we're looking at is having this generator large enough to run the fire pump so that
great.
the suppression system could be added and the generator's already there, so not tearing out a 2-year-old generator and replace it with one that's big enough.
Right.
It's gonna be an LP fire generator with a buried tank out there. It's the only LP thing in the building, so that everything LP can be outside. But those generators are pretty bulletproof. I mean, they start up when you need them.
Very nice.
I think a temporary solution to that until another, solution can be found would be to have battery shut-off switches.
That's,
I think a lot of the trucks now will like the master switch on there that kills the power to the truck so that you can't get electric fire.
All the new ones coming out.
Right.
Yeah.
is that something, Tim talked about that with, after the Henniker fire, doing that. Can those be installed on the older trucks?
We have on the oldest trucks.
On the oldest?
Yeah, on our 3 older trucks we have.
How about the middle-aged trucks?
We haven't
Yeah.
yet.
But it can be added.
It's not a huge expense.
Yeah, I think that would be a good thing to do, just because you do have that security of,
It eliminates the electrical fires
Electrical
that happen
fire.
at night with
Mhm.
equipment.
Right.
What's the cost usually for those?
Shut off.
Yeah,
Just a few dollars.
how
Yeah.
much?
Just a few, I don't have a number,
I
but
mean, it shouldn't be $100 a
Yeah.
truck to
yeah,
do it.
they're under $100.
Okay.
Yeah, build a battery cable and a switch probably for $100.
Yeah.
Okay.
We just did one last week, actually.
Like I said, that might be a temporary solution until, more permanent
Yeah, I know
suppression
the new
systems.
ones come standard.
Right.
you know.
Because what we were looking at, when we had the fire suppression system on, was that we actually, instead of burying the cistern, we did a little addition on the side of the building out here and had this tank inside the building for the fire pump. That way you get, the fire pump's much less expensive because you can get a self-priming one because it's down the bottom of the tank. You suck it off the bottom of the tank, you don't have to, there's no lift. So that would be easy enough to add on to the building. It doesn't need to be real high, just tall enough, for the tank and to walk in.
Bruce, I had a question concerning that. If it were added on in the future, even though the tank is inside, it wouldn't really be in a heated space. Would there be a
No.
problem with that as far as
It
the
wouldn't
tank
be-
freezing up?
It wouldn't take much to heat it. You can put a little wall unit up there that you can run off the boiler or have a little loop off of that for a little motoring thing off the boiler. So it doesn't need to be another ignition source.
When we were talking about the plans for that, there was even a suggestion brought up of having two different warrant articles, one that dealt with the suppression system. So, that certainly is something we could put out to voters in the future, once that we have this in place. And then there's also, I guess the fire chief said, if there is a fire that involves diesel and fuel, that water isn't gonna do much good anyways. So,
If you've got the electrical killed in all the trucks, that's the main source of any fires in this section of the building.
They never determined if Henniker's was a truck anyway, they think it might have been their furnace.
the furnace?
Yep, they never did determine, there was an argument about that.
Which we've got contained in a separate room all by itself over here.
The truck that got hot was the same one the furnace fell in.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that room, the boiler room with the storage and so forth, do you have any special fire protection walls?
No, it's gonna be all drywalled. We can have them put fire-rated drywall in there, and it's all gonna be alarmed. There's gonna be smoke alarms, heat sensors. It includes a complete alarm system.
Okay, and that would be a monitored alarm system?
Yes, that's correct.
Any more questions, guys? Anybody in the audience have any more questions?
When's the expected completion date?
October 31st.
When?
October 31st. Halloween.
I do have a question, actually. Fire suppression, isn't it the size of the building that actually mandates whether you have it or not? Now,
It's the size based on the use.
okay,
That's essentially why that firewall is where it is.
yes,
It works out perfect for this building because with the area where the trucks are, you can have up to 12,000 square feet in that size. We're way less than that. We're under 10. And for the mechanical area where the mechanic section is, you can have up to 5,000 square feet there. So that's why it's really considered a dual-use building because there's two use groups there.
I
And
just wanted to
and that's
be
what the
sure.
wall separates, but they both meet
Okay.
and one use group requires if it was just trucks separating trucks, it's just a 2-hour wall. But when it's mechanics bay separating another mechanics bay, it requires a 3-hour wall. So that's a 3-hour wall,
Okay,
so that it covers the worst case.
And upstairs will not have people up there.
No, this is storage only. There's no office space up there, there's no
Just a small question, is that mezzanine, the upstairs area, have like an open space so things could be put up with a lift?
Yeah, it does. There's, along this wall right here, it's shown right here, there's gonna be a 6-foot wide gate right here that can swing in, so they can pick up things with a forklift or a loader. They can put stuff in a loader bucket and pick it up there, so they can get heavy things up there if they want to.
Anything else?
I guess I would just like to say that I'm pleased with the presentation that we had tonight. That, you know, I know that people have spoken about the length of time that it's taken and so forth, but it seems to me that it's worthwhile to do it right than it is to just put it up.
Oh, we went through many steps to get to this point.
We had a lot of meetings.
I know, and that's what I'm trying to say, that I do think that, thank you all for the time and energy that's been put into it.
Yes.
Will there be public progress reports on this building?
Yes, as a matter of fact,
Probably put a little page on the website, maybe, that we could.
on the website,
Mm-hmm.
I want to put something in the newsletter that the library started. I don't know if you've seen that. But
Yep.
it's online as well as in various places. And I would, as a chair of the board, would like to do updates and include them in that as we go along as well.
Would the clerk of the works be willing to come to meetings every once in a while
Yeah.
to update as well? I think that would be
Major,
good, because then we'll get
major
it out.
hurdles.
What?
At major points in the construction,
Mm.
foundation's done,
Yeah.
groundwork's
Yeah.
done.
Anything else?
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you, Bruce.
And I'll leave these here if anyone else come. Yeah, they'll be here in my office if anybody wants to come look at them that hasn't seen them. Thank you, Bruce.
Moving on to the minutes of April 3rd. I have a few little things here. Last paragraph on the page, last full paragraph on the page. As Connor asked, it says to board, and it should say the board, to approve the appointment of. Anybody else have anything else on page 1? Page 2, again, a couple of just little things. Second paragraph down, Chairman Clow replied that we go rather than go through the invoices. And then the next paragraph, next to the last line, the town can, says better care of them, just can better take care of them, or take better care of them, either way. But just needs the word take in there.
How about provide?
Anything else on page?
How about provide?
Can
Provide better care.
find the name. Anything else? Page 3, I had one little item, second paragraph, just very first line, Chairman Close stated that a few months, just insert the word ago, a few months ago, there was a. Anything else on page 3?
I have down where it should be a 2. Down of possibly strengthen it. Should be 2 possibly strengthen it.
Let's see where you are. Yeah.
And, he would really like,
To see,
to see
that's sufficient.
that sufficient time, or that something is allowed, to like to see, to be able to make,
About, we'd like to see that sufficient time is allowed.
is allowed to be able to
Yeah.
make, yeah.
else on page 3? Anything on page 4? Page 5, now, I have a suggestion. Everything on that bulletin has changed, the
Yeah.
legislature, so it might be good to just figure it out of the minutes.
That's fine. It's just I read it into it, so.
Um,
Or you can follow it by the House vote that was taken.
The only other thing that I was gonna, I mean, I'm sure you're probably.
'Cause things
doing
have
it anyway,
changed,
is
yeah.
To attach the MOU or,
I did not attach the MOU.
okay, because it just gives reference to the
Okay.
numbers so that people, that it will be known.
I can do it either way. With refer to that. Because there was the results came out Friday of the House vote.
Did they ever approve anything?
I honestly didn't read it. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know as they did, but this is all ancient history now because they did
Correct.
not approve it.
Correct.
Do you want to just put at the end of that first paragraph before it goes to italics, update on rescheduled town meeting and regarding SB 248 or whatever it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rather than
Yeah,
quoting the
that's
whole
fine.
thing.
That's fine.
Okay. Anything else? We need to approve the minutes of April 3rd as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Manifest, move that we order the treasurer to sign the payroll and accounts payable checks dated April 13th, 2017, as included in the following manifests. Payroll manifest, $53,396.46. And the accounts payable manifest of $24,543.96 for a total of $77,940.42. Is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Down to you.
Yeah, I'm gonna hand down the table. If you take one and just put one in Jack's spot too. Where's Frank?
Stealing all of that, this check.
This is a new, updated budget that includes all the journal entries that were made with regards, to the, article on page 14. You had seen that there was the, article for the non-union raises. It's now been distributed through all those 20-plus lines from Beth. So this is what it is. Just to let you know that that's been put in all the spots. This wasn't really meant for your discussion. You're welcome to take it and study it and look at it. But it is all inclusive. And you'll find just one other thing. Under the reserve funds, I think we're kind of honestly waiting until the second half tax to go out to swap over that money just because things are tight. So you'll see those disappear as they get spent. Not gonna disappear, it's gonna be remaining will be zero. Because they'll be put into the appropriate funds that they were voted on. Just to let you know that.
Anybody have any questions?
If you do, when you study it, by all means, I encourage you to call Beth or I, if you have any questions. You'll get periodic ones mailed to you, but that's the start. And that's kind of where we take off from after, the reduction of the budget, plus the things that were voted on, the contracts and stuff, so.
Now, is this as of the
10th.
April 14th, April 10th? Or is this as of March 31st?
No, this would be through the payroll and payables you just voted on, because I don't believe she can, oh, she might have, because it does say through 3/31, she might not have confused you. If you look at the heading, it says approved and then year-to-date, so she's put in the new approved budget, but the year-to-date's still gonna be the first quarter. So the approved budget should be a little different from last time. I didn't really add much other than that the janitor sink has been done over at the town hall, so that's one thing off our list. One.
Did he take the sink?
Did he take it?
No, it's sitting there.
Okay, 'cause I mean, I know that when I was there for the rabies clinic, the
He
sink
didn't
was in the
take,
box.
he didn't
Oh.
take the trash, it needs to be, just taken and out.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we can do that. I mean, that's, but it is installed.
Yeah, with shut-offs, new faucets, just,
Okay. And Lori, have you picked a date yet? Sorry.
We're holding.
Okay. All right. I just didn't want to forget you. I mean,
No.
it's here. Okay.
Thank you.
just going back to the top of your
Yeah.
list here. We talked about a couple of possible contractor names, but we don't have anything in the works on that yet.
Not
We
for the
really
doors.
Gotta get some specific, quotes on those real soon, or it's gonna be a matter of not having,
Okay.
anybody having
Fall.
any time.
Yeah,
Mm.
And we need three, right, because of the,
the amount.
amount of it.
Well, Chip's gone until Wednesday. I know we had one name in mind, possibly two. I gotta try to dig for a third one that's interested, because
Yeah.
a lot of people are busy. That's the thing.
I know, it's,
But if I could reach out to half a dozen of them and show you that I've reached out, and they say that they're busy, there's not much I can do.
yeah. And we also wanna make sure that we have a real craftsman do it. So we're almost ready to adjourn. We're moving right along. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, so I'll do my best. The same thing with, that buried down in my emails was the gazebo things. I'll put those back out too.
Especially to the two who did make a bid, now that we
Yeah.
have specs on it.
Yeah. Gazebo. Wednesday, I'm meeting with Kurt Lauer here to go over the locker room space, and we're gonna look at the plans, and then we'll go over and do the walkthrough. So I don't know if he can turn it around that quick for Monday, but I'll do my best to see what we can have maybe for a suggestion.
Okay, just to clarify for
Oh,
everybody
home
that's-
viewership.
Yeah, we're talking about some renovations at the police department that will use a shared space now as a men's locker room. And so fire chief came up with some ideas for other spaces in his side of the building, and so we're having somebody with architectural experience look at it to see what's feasible and what isn't. That's the Kurt Lauer part.
And then I just left the summer schedule on, and I'll leave it on there as a reminder. There's no need, there's no space necessary. And the other thing I've left on there, as you can see, is the policy we had talked about was the audio video. I'm leaving that on there. I'm not gonna change what it says there, but I'll leave it on there as a reminder. I'm not sure that anything will be done as far as that, but it is just a reminder to where we are.
That it?
That's all I got.
The meeting time is still on cable at 7.
Okay.
Oh, I noticed a little thing on the manifest that, on the Verizon bill.
Okay.
Still has Carl's name on it.
Oh, that's been ever since Tim was around. Hasn't changed. It's an act of Congress, honestly, to get, not, and no pun intended, but to get it changed. I've tried. I can try one more time.
Oh.
We're up for renewal in May,
Now,
so,
is that the phone that Benji uses now?
yes. It's the phone that Tim used. It's the same phone, it's just got a different name.
Alright.
It's way back when.
Last name's the same.
Yeah. Close. Yeah, I know. It was always on there the whole time Tim had it.
It's Tim, and then I call him, and he answers it, so. Tell him Tim, and he'll get all upset. He'll call, he won't call you wrong.
That's all.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Public comment. Anybody here for public comment, Tom?
Frank Campana, and I see you're taking minutes, so good luck.
You'd be amazed.
I've said that before, so.
I'm gonna write that. Frank says good luck.
Pardon me?
Thank goodness for YouTube.
Yeah, I did. I used it tonight before I came here. If it's not taxing the selectmen too much, I'd like to refer back to last week. Your changing of the public comment only to the end was certainly done with purpose, and I was probably somewhat responsible for that, but I don't go out, not fully. So I'm going to start, and I'll try to condense what I had here. I'll start with the selectmen here on the end because you're the newest one elected. You said you've watched meetings and they turned into public debates, and you're absolutely true. So I'm speaking from my own point, not every time, but at times. And I'd like to remind the board that it takes two people to make a debate. And again, singling you out, John, because you're the newest one elected. But it applies to all of you folks who decided to do away with the first public comment, to make it convenient for the taxpayers that you, I'll use the word serve. It's unfortunate that happened, but I'm trying to get my note here. John, there were 315 people that voted for you, and I think you said you've been here for 3 weeks, it's maybe 4 weeks. So with that type of decision to support doing away with public comment, again, it applies to all of you. You go out and you seek for people to vote to support you, and you do away with the first public comment. So it's really a slap in the face to the people that, at least the people that voted for you, if they should try to want to come in to do public comment. Now they have to come in at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. So I think you've done a disservice to the people that voted you into office. And probably if some of you run again, we have a candidates night, I might pose that as a general question, and again, it has to be a general question to apply to everybody. So, and then also, John, you mentioned that, let me see, let's see, and this is where I use YouTube. We'll try it and see if it doesn't work out, we'll try something different, referring to the second public comment only. And this dovetails, and I used YouTube again, this dovetails exactly to me that there may be some paperwork on the shelf somewhere that Mr. Meany had said, nothing says that we have to have any public comment.
I'll tell you, Mr. Campana, go look at RSA 91A:2. That's the state statute involving public comment at a selectmen's meeting or public meetings. And to be honest with you, and I said that on YouTube, at times you come in here and this is public sandbagging because you ask us things about things that happened 3 weeks ago about a bill. We're not prepared for it. Something like that should be brought onto the agenda so at least we can be prepared for it ahead of time and we can answer your question intelligently, not get sandbagged or ambushed. And that's what at times it comes to.
Okay.
And we're not conducting the town's business when we have to do that.
I move on because I don't want to make it a public debate. There are other things that said, and I agree this time with Mr. Meany to a very small degree. You are here to do the town's business. And they do it first and get it done, and then whoever wants to come in late at night. But, and I'm not looking for any answer, just something to think about. Don't you feel that making it as convenient as possible, if you in fact have public comment, to make it as convenient as possible for the taxpayers, at least the ones that supported you, to be able to come in at a reasonable time and pose a public comment. And then you carry on. And in fact, the last public comment from last week was, it lasted total of 18 minutes. I took up a part of that, to be sure, I took up about 12 minutes of it. So that was, you know, it took 18 minutes of your time total. The other thing is, that was already mentioned, was something that was said about, it was just said again, about bring something up 2, 3, or 4 weeks ago or a month ago, so we can put it on the agenda maybe and have an answer. Well, again, the vouchers that I had last week were only a week old. You signed the vouchers a week ago tonight. I mean, I'm sorry, the manifest. And when you take the oath of office, and I'm taking a lot of liberty with this, and it was just read tonight to a couple of folks, impartially and perform all the duties incumbent upon me, according to the best of my abilities. Well, here's where I'm taking the leeway. If you believe to some degree that part of your duties, it's not in an RSA, but part of your duties might be to, again, if you're going to have public comment, to make it as convenient as you can for people to come in. And your decision last week, to me, I think you could do better, was not to the best of your abilities. I'll probably cut a lot of this out. Well, actually, I'll go to Mr. Hippler. I stated at the very beginning of my public comment last week, as I have done every time when I've asked about the cars being done by the highway department, I've stipulated right from the get-go that I understand it's a question of scheduling, it's a question of availability, and I said last week, all right, that I'd rather have a plow truck worked on than I would a police cruiser, all right? Listening to that meeting, you know, you said basically the exact same things I said at the beginning, but you presented it as if you never heard it before. So I am sympathetic to the highway department in all respects. Well, I'm going to let the rest of it go. Well, I'm going to let the rest of that go. It doesn't make any difference. So I have, well, actually, I will do one other thing. In 10 minutes. It will be interesting to see, now that you have public comment only at the end, it will be interesting to see a resident that probably could have come to the first public comment session with a concern. You know, maybe even a lot of praise for what you guys are doing. I mean, you'd like to hear that, and rightfully you should, okay? But maybe that person now will have to be put on the agenda to do that. That would probably be a very realistic possibility. So we'll wait to see, you know, if and when that happens and who the person might be. Okay, now I have two questions. Well, actually one question and a comment, a referral back to, I'll use last week's. Naomi provided me with a budget printout that you had last week, but that's not going back too far, I hope. Again, I'm not looking for a debate, I'm just making a public comment. I noticed, I hate to say it again, but it's the police department, and there are two items on there that are already overspent. And I know somebody's gonna say, well, it's not a large amount. And I remember, lack of a better term, I'm gun shy to even say it, because it was a comment made by that department head when the amended budget was passed. I'll tell you, it's 2:30.
320?
320.
I'm sorry, 3:20. And 6:18. And the department head, and I can't do it verbatim, but, and I will always, as always, stand to be corrected, but it is a while back, that it was a bare bones budget. Well, even with the amended budget, the departments are still gonna get everything they have, even though they wanted, even though they have to delay some of the hiring and that kind of stuff. But, it would be nice for the selectmen to pick out those couple of lines, and my question would be, is if these two lines reflect an untouched dollar amount, even with the amended budget, why is it overspent? What did it buy? And where did the money come from? What lines did the money come from? I don't want an answer. Believe me, I don't want an answer. I don't want to get into a debate. And my question, which may draw a response, and you may not want to give it to me, the police chief, I believe his contract is coming up at the end of June, end of May and end of June. If he is writing his own contract and decides to stay on, is that going to be something that the board will have a public hearing on? I know in the past, when that question's been asked about some contract, it's been, well, we don't really need one because it's a continuation. Well, I don't believe that to be true, because if it's a new date, if there are new numbers, new specifics to it, then it's a change contract, and to me, it's a new contract, and should require a public hearing. Well, I use the word require. Even if it's not required, wouldn't it be nice to offer that to the public? And hopefully that satisfies some of your concerns from last week about me being up here, and that's all I have. Thanks.
Just one comment, Frank, on the contract. I can't remember an employment contract that we haven't had a public hearing on, so there will be a public hearing. We don't have public hearings on contracts like, for example, lawn care, but that's not really a labor contract, but
I appreciate that, Tom, and I was not specific. I know you don't do that for other contracts. Yes, I should have been more to the point and say, public employee
labor
contract. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. John?
No, just, if I could just have my email read in as part of the minutes. Under correspondence.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I didn't print it out. Do you have that?
You can print it.
I could read it from my phone.
Okay.
Technology.
I do have it, you want it?
So you're not gonna read it? Just teasing you.
I'll read it if you would like.
You want to read it under correspondence or right now?
Do you have any other
Are
public?
we under Yes, we are, anyways. Nobody else for public comment before we go on to correspondence?
Lori.
Lori Davis. I respect the board's right to do what they're doing with public comment. I'm very familiar with the RSAs, and I know we have a lot of creativity at public comment. I have been hearing from different people in the town. I am a person that gets around the town, and I know there are people that tend to come to public comment infrequently, but when they do, they come to weigh in on things that are going to be discussed that evening. If they are held till afterwards, their comments cannot be taken under advisement because decisions will already be made, and it will force people who are not comfortable having a long discussion in front of the board now having to do that. But like I said, I do appreciate it. There are two sides to the opinion. The other thing I would like to say is I think we need to give tremendous applause to our highway department this week. They have had a monstrous snow, and then they had tremendous rains, and they have done, I live on a dirt road, and all I can say is highway has done a great job, and I would like to thank them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, forgive me, John, if I mispronounce your last name, but John.
Van is fine.
Londa?
Van
Londersloot. Londersloot. Okay, this is an email from John Van Londersloot to the board concerning the same topic that was just discussed. And that is our change of time for public comment. And he asked that it be read into the minutes.
You want to read both from the bottom up? Bottom is the earlier one. Do you want them both, John?
Yeah, bottom up.
Bottom, you got to read the bottom first, and then
Okay.
top.
Yeah, I replied back to my own email.
I don't think I got the second one. I haven't read the second one.
Okay.
I'm writing to voice my opinion on the change that was made at the meeting on April 3rd, 2017 regarding public comment. When the agenda for meetings are distributed, I look at them to see if there's a topic that I have a strong concern with, and if so, I come and voice my opinion at the time designated for public comment. With the comments being prior to the scheduled agenda item, this allows the public to voice your approval/concerns with a given topic prior to your vote, thus allowing you to take this into account, what the public has to say. By holding public comment at the end of the meeting instead, you lose the opportunity to hear from the townspeople on that topic. You're elected to make decisions for the town, but you should hear our opinion prior to making that decision. Okay. Section 2, in further reflection about this subject, I would ask that you also consider establishing a time limit per speaker and bring back 2 public comment portions. After watching the YouTube recording of the April 3rd meeting, Selectman Meany mentioned that he felt it would be better to conduct town business prior to public comment, presumably from a time management standpoint. While I can understand that, public comment can potentially take up a large chunk of time. Making the townspeople sit through potentially 3 or 4 hours of town business before they can speak isn't really fair to the townspeople who are not there for any of the agenda items. I would suggest bringing back 2 public comment portions like there was in the past and enacting a time limit per speaker in the public comment, in the first public comment, maybe no more than 3 minutes. If the citizen would like more time than that, invite them to remain until the final public comment where there would be no time limit. Thank you for your consideration of this idea.
You can have that. I have them.
We'll see how this works out, you know. That's,
It's just my opinion.
No,
And a few others apparently.
and we appreciate it, we do. And I had a couple of other people speak to me with concerns as well, and I don't know if any other people have, you know. But, you know, nothing's carved in stone. Well, some great works of art, but. Okay, anything under other business?
Well, I don't know whether it's correspondence or other business, but apparently, and I know there's a lot of people in town that'll be traveling through Goffstown within the next few months, and there's a big construction project going on in
The
Goffstown.
Main Street.
Yes, and I just wanted to let everybody know that they can pick up a pamphlet on the schedule and so forth at the town clerk's office.
Program today.
They started this morning, the wall lines.
Mm-hmm.
Enough for the wall lines.
And that's got the schedule in it?
Tentative schedule, I believe. The first, the phases.
Anything else for other business?
I can't think of construction, though, James.
Can I just have your ear for just a couple minutes in non-public?
Sure, Jack, anything, other business, please? Rick?
Nope.
Good night, folks.
Thank you.
Move to adjourn?
Second.
Well,
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh, wait a minute,
Move to
no.
go in and out.
Oh, that's right.
A and C,
I move to go into non-public.
so you're in the first one.
RSA 91A3, Roman 2, and C.
Second.
Yes.
Second, okay.
Yes.
Then you'll be adjourning after?
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you.